What up, gang? It's your boy Zop back with another banger. Hey, it's a couple pieces of important information that you gotta know before you start your breeding journey. It's a couple pieces of foundation knowledge that's imperative. Some things you gotta add to your arsenal. Some stuff that has to be in your toolbox, right? When you're breeding this breeding program specified and tailored to your needs, right? You gotta have some good information. And today, we're gonna point you in the right direction and make sure you have a strong foundation to be the best breeder you can be. Without any further ado, let's get straight into it.
Like, comment, share, subscribe, you hear me?
Yeah, you know it. All right, before we get started, visit ZaZaGenetics.com. The sale is going all the way through the holiday season, all the way into the new year. So make sure you take advantage. We got a couple new strains, right? The highly anticipated White Pirate, feminized only, and we got the much requested feminized Valley of the Sun by Go Big Genetics. Make sure and take advantage of the holiday sale, man. I'll see you in Discord. First things first, if you think breeding is as simple as taking a mother and a father plant and chucking some pollen onto some pistils, you're way behind already. We want to rewire that thinking so that you understand that breeding has significance. There's purpose when we breed with intention, right? And today, we want to make sure first and foremost that you grasp the concept of how important breeding is, especially when we're dealing with forms of life, right? When you're breeding animals, right? You want to make sure that every move you make counts. You have another organism's life in your hands, right? It's imperative that you make the right moves. It's necessary that you know what you're doing. Reproduction is all universal. It's all the same, whether you're dealing with plants or animals, right? And I think what really made me stand out and unique as a plant breeder is because I have a 25-year foundation breeding animals. And breeding animals, every move you make has to count. You don't want to be the reason or be the cause of loss of life, right? I bring those same practices with me here to the plant community, right? I brought those same practices with me, that same ideology of every move that I make has to count. It's just the way that I learned. And I'm grateful for having a significant understanding and knowing the importance of breeding and reproduction, and the value of life, right? No different when it comes to the plants. This ideology is what helped me to win 12 cup wins in less than 24 months. 8 first place and 4 second place cups. In Trinidad, one of the harshest humidity climates known, right? And we had a plan, taking a strain that was already, that I already knew was worthy of mold resistance, that I knew had high resistance, Dead Ops OG. And I knew that if I introduced it to that environment and mentored someone that lived there to make it even more resistant specifically to that environment, we would get amazing results. And that is why we won 12 cups with Dead Ops, and other strains that my bro has developed in that environment over the years. So shout out to him. Congratulations to me. Men lie, women, they lie, but numbers don't lie. And the work that you put in is what you'll get back out. So I say that to say, when you take your time and breed with intention based on experience and knowledge that you gained along the way, knowing what you're doing, knowing that making every move that you make has to count, you get results. You get results. You don't want to be the guy who just labels himself as a breeder, but really has no knowledge. And that's a huge part of the community that we in. And I always tell my students, I only need to teach you just a small amount for you to know more than your favorite breeder. And when I do teach you that small amount, I want you to ask them educated questions based on what you've learned so that you can determine whether they are good breeders or not. So, typically when you are a breeder, whatever organism, life form, whatever specimen subject you are breeding, right, whatever your model is, it usually goes hand in hand with some sort of training or requirements. For instance, when you breed dogs, you typically start to learn a little bit about dog training and obedience and nutrients, sort of some things that kind of go hand in hand in order to ensure you have the best breeding program. Similar to here, right? When you are breeding plants in general, not necessarily just here, but flowers, gardening usually comes hand in hand. Nutrients, all of this education usually goes hand in hand. It doesn't happen the other way around, right? Dog trainers don't train dogs and all of a sudden have the ability to breed them, right? Gardeners, people who grown plants for 20 whatever years experience, don't just wake up and become a plant breeder. It doesn't necessarily work that way. It doesn't work that way at all. It actually works the other way around. When you have already built a strong foundation in breeding, there are certain things that come hand in hand in order for you to learn so that you ensure the best, the most optimal breeding program. In order to build a strong foundation in breeding, you have to understand the history. Mendelian inheritance and dominant versus recessive. You have to understand the concept of inheritable traits. You have to start with the basics, the ABCs, before you get into the more advanced, right? And I think that's a huge mistake that a lot of pollen chuckers and wannabe breeders make. They think they can just skip the foundation lessons and the necessary lessons you need in order to build onto and bring more to your program. But it doesn't happen overnight. I studied for about 6 years before I got my first hands-on experience. It doesn't happen overnight. Take your time, be patient, and surround yourself around people who actually are invested in wanting to learn the real mechanics of breeding. A list of must-dos. Just off the top of my head, I don't be reading nothing. This is all years and years of information and studying. So most of my videos to you and most of my classes and lessons be right off the top. Typically I've seen people in the chat, oh my gosh, he's reading off of something. Notes, yeah. I do have notes and lesson plans, and I've built curriculums, right? I heard there was a top educator breeder list or whatever it was. I didn't make either one. But I built my own school. We built our own private university. I built full curriculums for growing and breeding. I've taught hundreds and countless numbers of people. At the end of the day, we are here to do the work. A list of things that's imperative that you must have. The ability to take notes. You have to record everything, even the information that you think you may not need. Record it anyway. That means write it down, take voice notes, document. A breeder documents and records day to day. If you can't explain why you want to keep a plant, then you shouldn't be keeping it. If you don't have a clear explanation and understanding why you are keeping this particular plant, then you shouldn't be keeping it. I call and get rid of way more plants than I keep. That's because we are interested in only the elite and the special. Gruesome stress tests. Gruesome stress testing from the very early stages, right? We are weeding out the weak, and we follow the guidelines of natural selection. How things happen in nature, we mimic them in our simulated environment. Understand this. Anybody who even uses inexperienced growers and depending on them for information when it comes to a breeding program, it's impossible. It makes no sense. First of all, as a up-and-coming student breeder, you need to learn what you need to learn for yourself so that you can create your own breeding program and get the necessary experience you need to become a real breeder. You need to get that experience. That experience entails hands-on and vision. We look and study more than we, it's huge. Huge. Observation is huge in what we do. So you can't get the experience you need by giving your model subject to someone else to look at, no matter what their experience level is. If you plan on building this yourself and becoming a breeder yourself, you need to get the experience yourself. There is no such thing as a tester, right? Unless you have like me. Fortunately, I have a group of students who learn the mechanics the right way, namely Team Zaza. They have the experience where I can send them out stuff. But even then, when it comes to certain projects, it's still levels to it, right? It's still levels to the shit, right? I'm not going to rely on them to look at something that I know takes a high amount of skill. I got to look at it myself. So, and last but not least, for your foundation, don't let people with no experience give you advice. Get advice from the right people. You'll hear things like, oh, man, you need to have 1,000 plants if you want to be a real breeder, or misinformation like, oh, plants gonna harm anyway, you can't stop that, or just a whole bunch of bad information, bro. It's everywhere. You don't need a ton of space in order to start your breeding journey. I actually recommend that you start small. It's necessary. 2x4, whatever you got is what you start with, because most of your foundation is going to be book knowledge. You're not going to be breeding your first, you see what I'm saying? It's going to take time for you to build up that knowledge before you start the hands-on. And even when you do get that hands-on, you need to start slow with the observation process as well. You're not just going to jump into 1,000 plants, right? Who does that? How could you, as a brand new, inexperienced breeder, be able to identify such a large number, right, of anything, right? How could you gauge? How could you that's not even realistic. Don't listen to the pollen chuckers who just want to appear to be smart so that they can make the next dollar of someone who they think appears to not be smart. Be wary of the people you share information with, but also remember that each one teach one. right? If you want to build a good foundation in breeding, I am the best. You don't have to put me on the list to know that I am the best. But I will say, much love. I love you and thank you to all my family and all my supporters who do appreciate what I bring to the table and what me and Team Zaza have in store for the future. Subathon, you know what time it is. Shout out to Team Zaza Clip Gang. We back on Twitch. We running QC Eater Podcast, The Return, Saturday. Tomorrow, join us, 9 p.m. Me and my co-host, 703 Grow Bro, we back. Catch me every Wednesday on Twitch for a new episode of Cooking with Za. You know, we cooking with Za. You can catch the gang too streaming. 703 usually streaming Fishing Planet. If you want to join the Fishing Planet Simulator gang, he definitely is running a club there on Fishing Planet. Team Zaza Real Legends. That's REEL Legends. So make sure you tap in with 703 Grow Bro. Shout out to my brother Kurt. His new episode of Behind the Curtains will be airing. Team Zaza's moving. Shout out to my brother PNW, streaming that Call of Duty Warzone for my gamers. You know, we back on Twitch. Team Zaza Gaming is out and about. So we back on Twitch. And I look forward to seeing you guys for the second annual Zaza-thon. Yeah, we going 7 days straight. Yeah, boy, we back. You know, the gang is here. We taking it all the way through New Year's. Team Zaza pulling up on me. We're going to have a blast, man. You know, we're going to have a blast, man. Y'all know where y'all seen Elway eat a 7-grammer of shroom, man. Come on, man. 24-hour live. Who the first to bring you a 24-hour giveaway every hour for 24 hours without going to sleep, man? Stop playing, man. Tell them guys to give me some homage. Pay some homage if they going to copy me like that. Hey, one thing we know for sure, you can copy the format. You can copy the style, but you can't copy respect. Much love to the gang, man. I love y'all. Thank y'all for y'all support. And tonight, we in Discord. This fight night weekend, man. We watching Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul tonight. And tomorrow, we watching Top G and the other young boys. So join us in Discord. Feel free to pull up. It's a fight party weekend. No meetings, no work. We chilling, man. Much love. See y'all in the Discord. Love y'all. I'm out.
I'm on a hunt for the best, won't rest. Team Zaza in the lab, no flex, just reps. Breeding with ethics, not random mess. You with us so you ain't get left like the rest. Moment of silence for the fuck boys who thought they could test, yeah. Moment of silence for the ones who fake flex and left the game a mess. Every seed got a story, every cross got a plan. We ain't guessing in the garden, we command the land. Pheno hunted through the mud with the nose and the eye. Not every plant makes the cut, and that's why we fly. This ain't pollen in the wind, this is legacy craft. This that late night note taking, do the math. From the roots to the fruit, we define what's next. So if they ain't about the ethics, then they getting money. On a hunt for the best, won't rest. Team Zaza in the lab, no flex, just reps. Breeding with ethics, not random mess. You with us or you ain't get left like the rest.